interesting panel, and I can't wait to introduce you. My name is Kendra Kincaid. I am the host of Airtime, which is brought to you by Elevate Aviation. I have the shirt on today, Elevate Aviation. Elevate Aviation, of course, is a nonprofit organization that is always working towards trying to attract people into the aviation industry, which is a really interesting thing to say right now with this panel, who are aviation professionals who've turned entrepreneurs. So it's going to be really interesting to get their take on, still attracting people into the aviation industry and what they think of that. But that's what we do. We attract people into the aviation industry and help them get into there. We have a great announcement that's going to come out in social media today about a certain project that has been funded. So if you're not following us on social media, you can do that on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, of course, Elevate Aviation. Lots going on. Keep in mind, as always, if you are thinking about getting into aviation or you're already in aviation and you want to become a mentor, or you want a mentor, you want to ask someone questions on how to get in to the industry, please contact us at, you can just go to our website, elevateaviation.ca, and sign up to be a mentor and help somebody else, or get yourself a mentor. It really can make a difference. So let's jump in and meet our panel today. So like I said, we have a panel of aviation professionals turned entrepreneurs. So I am really curious about a bunch of things, including why, we know COVID, but it's going to be interesting to see the different reasons why, or maybe they're all the same reasons why they all decided to become entrepreneurs. If you're watching here on Zoom, please feel free to ask as many questions as you like. You throw them in the Q&A button, or you can throw them in the chat, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. So today we have, I'm going to get their names here. We have Adam Wright. Hello, Adam. We have Jonathan Steinfeld.
Hello.
Jonathan. We have Travis Whyte. Hey, Travis. Who missed his flight today with Sophia? No, it's good. Amie Ullock. Hi, Amie.
Hello.
We have Lisa and Mark Krzywinski and Amie Burry.
Hi.
We do not have Adam Wright. Do we? We are missing somebody. That's okay. Okay. All right, you guys. So here we go.
There he is.
Here we go. I just crossed his name off. Now I'm going to mark it back on.
Hi there.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
How are you today?
It says Stephen, but we're going to call you Adam.
Yeah, sure. Prefer that.
You are Adam, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, Adam. We're just getting going. And okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to do a little round table here. And Travis, I'm going to start with you. What did you do in aviation, and what got you into that? So I happen to know that you're a pilot, so.
Yeah, so it actually all started at 38 years of age. I had the dream to go back and relive the idea of becoming a pilot. So I had been an entrepreneur actually for about 20 years before that, but always had wanted to become a pilot. So I had my own company, sold it, merged, used the money to fund a flight training, and moved to the States actually, and did all of my flight training in Mesa, Arizona. Moved back, and at 39 years old, started flying for North Caribou. Worked on the ramp a year before that, loading bags, and then finally got on the flight line with Encore, and was with Encore for almost 8 months before COVID happened. So it was, dream come true, and then dream withdrawn all of a sudden. So it was a pretty substantial life change for me to have to go back into entrepreneur land to maintain a living and to keep myself sane.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't know that about you at 38.
38.
Wow. That's incredible. And also, what great hope for people who are younger than that and say, I can't change. I'm not happy where I am, and I can't change it. Wow. What an inspiration to say, no, that's not true. Right?
Yeah, no, it's not true. And there was not many of us in the programs at my advanced age. Most of my flight instructors were in their early 20s. And even when I started flying at Caribou and even at Encore, most of the captains are closer in age to my eldest son than they are to me. So it's quite the different dynamic sometimes, but I've sort of settled into it and just really enjoy it.
Wow. Did you ever, question yourself, like around people who were so much younger? And did you ever question, what am I doing? Or did you just go for it?
The only time I did when I was like 39 years old and it's minus 9 degrees outside and I'm crawling in the belly of a 737 loaded bags to put in my time on the ramp before I actually got on the flight line. That's when I was kind of like, what am I doing? Making $15 an hour.
Wow. Way to follow your passion though.
Yeah, it's been the passion all along that sort of just kept me going.
Oh, okay. Okay, Mark and Lisa, I know you are our AMEs. Tell us a little bit, whoever wants to go first, tell us a little bit about what you do and as an AME and how you get into it.
Go ahead. No.
So polite. I actually started as a flight attendant, for those of you that don't know. So that's kind of how I stepped into aviation. I was really fortunate when I was a flight attendant with WestJet, they allowed me to come job shadow with the mechanics. My first day job shadowing, I met this guy here. We became friends and obviously, things progressed from there. So that kind of gave me the segue to go into aircraft maintenance, which is really fortunate for me because it's kind of always been my passion. I grew up on the East Coast, always working with my hands. So for me, it just felt like a natural fit. And that's kind of how the segue kind of led me from flight attendant to AME. So clearly there's been some sort of love and passion for aviation from day one for me.
Yeah, and I love that the company had some sort of program or whatever it was that allowed you to go and shadow other jobs within within their company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really fortunate for that because it gave me the chance to really get my hands in there and see if this is what I wanted. I got to kind of live a day in the life of. So that kind of, pushed me to the point of all right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. So that's kind of how it played out.
Boy, I always say that flight attendants are the gateway to aviation because now your story to add on to it, but there's a lot of other stories of flight attendants who look up front and they're like, hey, wait a minute, I can do that. Or we have flight attendants who are air traffic controllers. And so trying to get those kids into being a flight attendant right out of high school instead of going to work at Tim Hortons or something would be is good for the aviation industry.
Absolutely.
Right on, Mark.
Hi. I kind of just fell into mine, to be honest. I never really get asked too frequently why I stepped into aviation. I don't really have a background of aviation. I stepped out of high school, went to college. I went for aircraft maintenance, and I did it for over 10 years. I enjoyed it. I loved it. So, yeah.
How did you know about it? It was just an option, like you were just basically looking at all the options and thought aircraft maintenance, that sounds interesting. Is that how you heard about it?
Honestly, I'm generally pretty mechanically inclined. So I like to tinker, and motorcycles and boats and cars were always kind of my thing. Aviation was like a world of its own, which I thought was kind of neat. So I figured I'd look at some pay scales and balance everything out. And that's where, I ended up in aviation. It was just a shot in the dark, but I really enjoyed it. So.
And then one day this pretty young woman comes in for a tour and you're like, oh.
Life-changing event for sure. But it was, I'm kind of a social butterfly. So I do like to chat and help out where I can. So it was, almost inevitable.
Life-changing for you both, eh? Like, and Lisa on your side, not only did you meet your future husband, but a whole new career.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're now an amazing spokesperson for that industry because, what is it? 1 to 2% women.
4.
What's that?
4%.
4. Okay. That's a new number for me to hear. 4%. Anyway, we will continue to try to inspire more women to get into that career. Jonathan, how about you?
Well, it's funny because I don't have anyone in my family who is a pilot. My dad was an architect and my mom was a teacher. She retired a while ago. So I really didn't have anyone to say, hey, why don't you become a pilot? But I guess what really inspired me is that I grew up in Winnipeg. I still live in Winnipeg, and we lived on the approach path to 31 to the airport there. So there was never a shortage of airplanes flying by, and just the curiosity of it all really planted the idea that maybe this is something I should look into. And it's funny because not knowing where to begin, the first thing I did is I actually just called up Air Canada when they had offices in Winnipeg and basically just said, hey, what do I do? Because I had no idea. I had no idea about the training process or anything like that. And up until that point, when I learned to fly in 1992. I'm 45 years old, so you can do the math. When I started, I had only been in an airplane, a commercial airplane, I think 8 times, something like that, not even. So I hadn't flown a lot at all. But then, yeah, the rest is history. Slowly worked my way up. Started, my first job was as a flight instructor, and then I was doing some flying up north and did that for a few different companies. And then in 2008, I got hired on at WestJet.
Okay, so, and you're still with WestJet now?
I still am, yeah. In 2016, I'm on the 37, so in 2016, I upgraded to captain. And then April 9th of last year was my last flight as a captain, because with COVID, there were significant layoffs and what we have, what's called a reduction bid. So I didn't have enough seniority to stay in the left seat. So I'm back in the right seat and still there and hanging in there. It's hard because we, like I said, we have laid off quite a few people, and April 1st, we have plans to right now lay off another 400 pilots. Just over 400 pilots, so it's pretty significant.
Wow. And so when you get, when you have to reduce your bid, how does that feel? Like, do you just accept it, like this is the way it is, or is it painful because you've put all this time, effort, and money?
It's everything. I mean, obviously it was a significant pay cut. With not only the pay cut, but with the reduction in hours, for some of us, it worked out to almost a 70% pay cut. So it's a very large number. Aside from the money, though, it's emotional because you spend, well, for me anyway, you spend your life wanting to be an airline pilot. Maybe that's your goal, or maybe it's not. But if it is, you want to be an airline pilot. And 2008 was amazing because that's when I got hired with WestJet, and it's the dream come true. But then you're always striving and wanting to go for that next step, which of course is one day to be a captain. So to reach that and then have it taken away from you through no one's fault, just it is what it is. It's hard, it's emotional. And when I look back on the 4 years that I was a captain, sometimes it feels like it never happened. It feels like it's a dream. And honestly, I rely on the social media and the Facebook to see the pictures or the memories where it pops up and it's like, oh, wow, I remember that. And so it's tough. Yeah, it's hard.
That's so sad. Oh, well, of course, we all have our fingers crossed that this is all going to change soon, right? Vaccines coming out and everything. Let's fingers crossed. Amie, how about you?
Hello.
Hi.
I work for Porter Airlines out of Toronto. It's been almost 6 years with them now, and in 2018 I upgraded to captain. Last year, March 20th was my last day of flying, so it's been a year now. It's gone by surprisingly quickly, though, I will say. And for me, I got my start in aviation, honestly, when I was 8 years old, and my parents took me on my first flight going to visit family in Toronto, Vancouver to Toronto on Canada 3000. I was strutting through the airport with my little Winnie the Pooh suitcase, looking all around. I looked at the departures board and, they're blinking all the different destinations. And I just stopped and I looked up and I was like, I said to my mom, this place is so cool. Like, I want to be the person who's getting all these families safely to their vacations or wherever they're going. At 8 years old. She was probably like, oh my God, you're an expensive child.
Yeah.
And then, ever since then, it's just, I guess it's in my blood. My dad's always loved aviation. And when they took me on my first fam flight. I think when I was, I don't know, in high school at some point, I just fell in love with it. And as soon as I graduated from high school, I went straight into it.
Oh, there's something special about aviation, isn't there? Like for the
Yeah.
people who are in it, there's like a passion that I don't know, you know, I'm sure other industries have their thing, but boy, the people in aviation are passionate about what they do.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so I have friends in Porter. I love Porter. They're amazing, and yeah, I've been in close contact with them, and it's sad. And let's, yeah, again, hopefully things come back and
Yeah, hopefully in a few months. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Amie.
Hi,
Hey.
two Amy's. We get confused all the time.
Yeah.
It's great. I started when I was 12 years old. I joined the Air Cadet program, and that's where the bug started for me. From there, when I turned 16, I was able to go on the Glider Scholarship program in Burry, Nova Scotia, and that's where I learned to fly. And the bugs stuck really hard. And loved aviation. Didn't know where it was going to go. It took a while to decide what I was going to do. I did a bit of traveling, and the combination of loving aviation and travel, it was just a win-win for me. So went to university, dropped out because I really loved aviation. So I actually went to school to become an aircraft technician. And from there was no employment at the time. So I worked jobs at the airport in operations, ticketed agent, rampy. I've done it all. And then I was lucky enough to get on with Jazz as a load planner. From there was an opportunity to do crew scheduling. So I did that for a stint. And then finally my goal job eventually was flight dispatch. And I got onto that. And I was working in flight dispatch for about 5 years before I was laid off due to the pandemic.
Wow. Oh, it's so sad. So sad. Well, I'm glad that you did get your dream job, and Jazz also, another organization, another company that's I love Jazz. They're fantastic. So
they've been treating us so well as employees during this whole pandemic too. So I feel very lucky as well.
So are you still an employee now?
I just got back on in December for a few months in a temp job for a special project. So again, very lucky, but it's not in dispatch. It's not the current pay or anything, but I do have some temporary work. Hopefully they can tie me over till I can hopefully get back to flight dispatching, but we have currently a very senior list, and I'm closer to the bottom. So it might be a while for me, but I'm still very hopeful.
How many people are dispatching? Do you know? Like before COVID, how many people?
Before COVID at Jazz, we had approximately 67.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we're down, I think, around 20-ish dispatchers. That includes management positions. So we took a huge cut.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Adam.
Hi there. My name's Adam Wright, and I've been a pilot since 1995. And I first wanted to be a pilot, remember, in grade 1. And I think I understood that the jobs that existed were pilot, farmer, fireman, and daddy or something like that. And I was like, yeah, pilot's the coolest thing that a human being can possibly do. And that's never left me. And so I tried to get into the military, but just due to timing, they kind of laughed me out of the recruiting office because they had the forces reduction program, and they were literally paying people to leave, pilots to leave the military. So I'm trying to get in while they're paying people to get out, which was not very successful. So I went off to university and found out if you just have a big pile of money and the will to do it, you can get your pilot's licenses. So that's what I did. I trained in Montreal and Moncton, and then started out, the path really opened for me as an instructor. So I was an instructor at Laurentide Aviation in Montreal. Then went, did some sched flying in the lower St. Lawrence, made my way to Bombardier to do military instructing in Portage-la-Prairie, Manitoba. And then got into the multi-engine side of things, went to North Caribou Air in Calgary. I went to Jazz based in Calgary and got hired on at Air Transat. So as first officer on the A330 at Air Transat for a few years, got upgraded captain on 737. And as of as of my most recent tasking, I've been captain on the A330 for about a year and a half, and Air Transat's currently completely shut down right now, so all pilots are sort of on ice, unfortunately. So it's been tough, and myself and talking to a lot of my colleagues, we're experiencing the same thing that Jonathan talked about, losing our livelihoods and our careers. So that's a short bio.
Wow. Well, you know what? That's a great lead into what are you doing now, right? Like so, you know, for some of you, you've completely lost your jobs, and you know, like Jonathan, you said you know, a little hanging in there a little bit at a totally different area. So Jonathan, you guys started, or somebody here started an association. I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to learn at the same time. So Jonathan, can you tell me about this association and what is it and what are you doing? Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. So basically, everyone you see here, we all connected primarily through social media, Facebook, Instagram, and what we realized is that it really is a small world, and there was a lot of similarities. And I know I reached out to Lost Aviators at one point, just to, you know, place an order for coffee, and Felix and company, they ordered some shirts, and over time, just through messaging, we got to talking about the products we carry and what we carry and why we're doing it, and realized that we had a lot in common. And we decided as a group that if we have the same passion and the same experience, there's probably people out there in Canada that are going through the exact same thing and same experience. And so we started chatting as a group, only recently, really. And we've created a group called the Entrepreneurs in Canadian Aviation. And the idea is that if you are in aviation in any capacity, and you have a small business on the side, whether it's to replace what you were doing in aviation, to supplement, or maybe it's just a side hustle, whatever it is, our goal is to eventually invite people into our group, and we can provide mentorship for running a small business. We can share our experiences. We can discuss the challenges that we have, you know, running a small business in Canada, and really learn from each other, learn from our successes, as well as, you know, some of our failures or the mistakes that we make along the way. So we're really excited. This is a grassroots group. We're really just getting started, but I think probably in the next month or two, you'll start seeing a social media presence, maybe even a website presence. So we're really excited about it.
Okay, so one of you actually builds websites, I think.
Yeah.
Some days.
Yeah, Travis.
Yeah. Well, this is great because you can also, you know, the power of promoting each other's businesses, right? Like, I'm sure you're doing that as well. Okay, so before I ask you about, you know, what you do in your businesses, do you guys, and anyone can answer this, whoever wants to, do you think that there's a possibility for any of you that when aviation returns, you may not return to aviation because of this business now? You might keep the business and not go back to aviation. Do any of you feel that way?
I don't think I'll return.
What's that, Mark?
I don't think I'll return.
Oh, really?
Felix and Company is one of the two businesses that we run out of here. We also own a concrete and landscaping company that's done extremely well for us, and we're quite happy with. Well, I'm quite happy with what we're doing now. I would circle back to aviation very momentarily just to stay current, so I can just carry my Amie license. But other than that, I'm quite confident, quite happy with where we stand now. So.
That's one of the fears, you know, some people have, and certainly a concern I've thought of before is, you know, these people who are leaving aviation, are they all going to come back? You know, I speak from the air traffic control side too, that, you know, a number of air traffic controllers have been let go. Will they come back? Is there anyone else that's feeling that same way as Mark, or are the rest of you all sort of just definitely coming back.
Would like
My partner and I have, my partner Steve and I, we've talked a lot about that, and it's kind of a function of if we can grow our company to the point where it can replace our salary, and we can have a lifestyle that compares, and definitely it involves an airplane. We will, before our business merits, get a corporate airplane to keep aviation into the business, but and that might be our undoing, but other than that, we're definitely going back, because I don't think that'll be achievable to grow the business that fast. And I think we're just so in love with it. And there's very few aspects of our jobs that we didn't like.
Okay, and Adam, let's start with you. So what are you doing?
Well, we're my partner Steven Zago and I, we're the two lost aviators of Lost Aviator Coffee. And so we're roasting coffee, and we're selling it online and wholesale, as well as branded merchandise.
Okay, and so why? What made you pick coffee? What was?
That's a good.
I like coffee. I should sell this. I should make this aviation. Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, it's well, I'll try to keep that answer short, but yeah, my wife and I bought a bakery in Guelph, Ontario, where we live now. And Steve's a good friend of mine, and we've been friends for many years. And so I was getting run off my feet, and Steve was contemplating joining the OPP, actually. And I just thought, friends don't let friends make those decisions. And it's a great career, but I just thought, late in life and with an imminent recall, I thought maybe I should go talk him out of it. So half a bottle of whiskey later, Steve's like, well, what am I going to do instead? I'm like, well, let's start a business. And well, what do we do? Oh, easily. We're going to be a craft beer maker. And I know everybody in Guelph is a craft beer maker. I mean, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a craft brewery. So we bashed around a few ideas, and I came up with coffee roasting. And I'm like, what do you think of that? And sort of came up with some reasons why, and then Steve actually came up with the name Lost Aviator, and it just resonated immediately. I'm like, yep, that's it. And Steve did some research, and the next day it was a go for both of us.
Lost Aviator. That's a really good name for this. It just seems so appropriate. And so what is the website? And okay, what's the website? Maybe answer that first. Or how can they contact you if someone wants to buy some coffee?
Sure. It's lostaviatorcoffee.com. And we've got an online store, and you can buy all our products there. Do you have a bestseller? We do. It's our Constellation Medium Roast. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. We have 5 core products: a dark, medium, and a light roast, which are named after celestial bodies as well as airplanes. And then we've got a decaf and an espresso blend. And then we also do one-offs. We have a whiskey barrel coffee, which is quite popular, and we do single origins, just kind of specialty stuff peripheral to the 5 core coffee blends that we carry all the time. So who is your customer? Is it mainly people in aviation, or no? No, I mean, it's really coffee lovers. The aviation industry has really humbled us in its uptake and support for us. So yeah, definitely the bulk of our online customers are in the aviation industry. And we do have a lot of people that have kind of heard the story, and it's resonated with them, and they've decided to support us, which is greatly appreciated. Okay, please, 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 if you're watching this, go buy some coffee and go buy something from everyone that's on here. This is what we want, and spread and spread and spread, so that everyone, at least everyone in aviation is buying all these products. That would be absolutely a dream, right? Let's all the coffee bought from you. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, thanks for sharing that. We're gonna go backwards. Amie Burry this time. Amie Burry, what are you up to?
I started randomly making candles, and it took off. It started with like, okay, I'm laid off. How am I going to afford to buy Christmas gifts? I'm like, well, let's do something crafty. So I started making candles, and they turned out amazing. And I'm like, oh, this actually worked. And so from there, I kind of sold some candles on the side and especially during Christmas time, there was a huge rush, and I'm like, oh, there is actually like the market's very saturated, but you could still start a candle business. And from there, early this year, I launched my new website and launched different candles in different tins. And we're trying to do it very sustainably. And yeah, it just kind of took off on its own. And I'm just very happy to where it is. And it gives me, my life has always been work and travel, and it's both been taken away from me. And this gives activity that I normally wouldn't have during this pandemic because travel's taken away. So I'm very thankful it's worked, and I've had great customers, and now we have this ECA group that I connected with these new people, and it's just been amazing. Very lucky.
So Marcia is watching this and she has a great idea. She said, can you all put your websites in the chat? So whenever you get a chance, throw your website in there. And when you're done this, if you don't mind going on to Facebook, you'll see the recording of this on Facebook, and throw your website in that chat as well. Thank you, Marcia. That's a really great idea. So Amie, do you have a candle on your desk right there that you can hold up?
Do I have a candle? Of course. This is one of my favorites because like we try to do something different. So these tins are a beautiful color. They're different. You can clean them out and reuse them as a vase, as storage. There's so many things we can do, and all of our candles are aviation inspired somehow. The name of my business is Contrail Candles. For me, it was my dad called me up one day, and he just looked up in the sky and he said, Amie, I can't believe how many contrails there are. Like, he thought it was a sign of hope. And I think it is a sign of hope for our industry and the future to travel again. So that's why we went with the name Contrail. But all of our scents are very aviation inspired or remind me of something in aviation. This one, for example, is fog. It's a gray cedar smell, and it just reminds me of fog. But we have layover, commuter, afterburner. And then we got some more new products launching really soon, which we're really excited about.
So I'm getting one for my birthday. I have a birthday coming up, and I actually know that Sophia, I don't know if you know Sophia, Travis knows Sophia. She just told me before we got on that I have one coming my way. So I can't wait to smell it and try it and come buy some more. Where do you make these, Amie?
I make these in my house. I currently am using a spare bedroom in my house, but I'm slowly converting my basement den into a full studio where I can make the candles. And also we've been doing a lot of wholesale orders, and some people want to do their own custom candles for their shop. So I'll be able to have them over my den, and we can collaborate and pick scents, pick vessels, and they can build their own candle for their customers' needs.
Wow, I want to elevate candles.
Sure.
Let's talk. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Amie, what happens if your business just takes off? Like, do you think that this could support you full time and be your full-time job?
Luckily with my job, I have opportunities. Like when we work full time, it's still, we get a lot of days off because we work almost 12-hour days. So it gives me a lot of time, but also we have another option that's called job share. So I could potentially work half time of what I already would work. And I think I could stay a full-time business and working there half time. I'm just kind of going with the flow and seeing where things end up. But there is options to be able to keep my job, because I don't want to completely leave aviation because it's my love, and I love to travel. So the passes are handy. So it'd be hard to give it up completely, but there's opportunities to reduce how much I work in aviation.
I just love that you guys are doing something for aviation that hasn't been done. You know what I mean? Like, what an opportunity to just really showcase aviation in these different ways. Okay, Amie, how about you?
So I actually started my jewelry business only a few months before COVID hit. It's almost like I had the sixth sense that something bad was coming. But I was flying full-time with Porter, and I love my job, but I was definitely craving something creative to do on the side and just have like a little creative side hustle at home. So a friend at my gym that I go to, she actually started making just beaded bracelets that were fitness inspired. So like barbells and dumbbells, and I ordered a few from her, and I thought, oh, these are really cool. These look really fun to make. I want to make these. And then I started looking into it, and I found that there wasn't a ton of like feminine, sophisticated aviation jewelry. in my humble opinion, a lot of it was very tacky. So I saw a big gap in the market there and I just went for it. And it just started as selling to friends and family and coworkers. And then it just spread like wildfire. And then January, February of 2020, it started like getting pretty serious. And I was taking my kit with me along on layovers, feeding in the hotel rooms. And then obviously when Porter shut down in March, I was like, okay, I want to be able to work for myself. Like, I don't really want to be employed by somebody else. I think I can do this and be self-employed until I go back to work. And like Adam was saying, the support from the aviation industry has been absolutely unreal, especially starting a jewelry business geared towards people who mostly don't have a job and they're still supporting and buying things for themselves. You know, jewelry is definitely a want versus need. And a lot of people this year and last year are only spending, you know, on things that they need. So I've been blown away by the support and it's growing every day. And I think my ideal situation would be to keep doing this full time and then fly part time and keep the passes and keep the benefits and still keep flying, but not be doing it full time.
Wow, that's so exciting. Do you have anything that you can show right there?
I do. I'm wearing this bracelet. I don't know, it's hard to see on the camera, but
Oh, so pretty. It has a little airplane on it too.
it's a gold filled chain, little quartz gemstones. This one is a magnetic clasp because I hate putting on bracelets. So you literally just do this and it snaps on.
Oh, it's so pretty.
And Lisa also is wearing one of my compass necklaces. And I think Amie is wearing my earrings too.
Oh, so nice.
See, the support is incredible. And yeah, it's really cool. It's very heartwarming.
Oh, so nice. Adam, I didn't ask you if you had a bag of coffee to hold up. Do you happen to?
I'm sorry, I don't drink
Okay.
at all.
We all drink the coffee and we can all vouch for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, I love the support here. Oh, I love that Amie and Lisa have your jewelry on as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
should
very
have
cool.
pre-planned that on me. Okay, I'll have to fix that. Wow. So that's amazing, Amie. So it's been going for about a year now, yours?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And you put your email, I assume you put your website in the
Yeah.
chat.
It's my first and middle name, amieullock.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Jonathan,
Yeah.
how about you?
Well, I actually started my company in 2016. So long before, you know, COVID was ever a word in our everyday vocabulary. And really, it was never about, you know, making money or anything like that. It was more about, I was already established at WestJet. My work schedule was such that I worked about 15 days a month. So the other time I was stuck at home, kind of pulling out my hair, like, what do I do? My kids are in school, my wife works. So I was looking for a creative outlet or vehicle to just fill my time. And the company started sort of as a solution to a problem, which was I hated shaving. And I cut myself, I would go very red, just awful, awful experience. And I was on a trip in New York with my wife and walked into a shaving store that sold all sorts of fancy brushes and razors and shave cream. And sales associate did a great job. And I walked out with about $180 worth of gear to bring back to Winnipeg. And really the whole experience changed my routine. All of a sudden, I wasn't cutting myself. I was actually enjoying it. And then naturally, as the products started to run out, I needed to replenish them and realize that there wasn't anything in Winnipeg to fill that void. So I basically said, well, I'm going to be the solution, and started my own company. And that's how the Stonefield Shaving Company was born. It's Stonefield is actually the English translation of my Polish Jewish name of Steinfeld. So I just kind of liked how Stonefield sounded. And one of the neat things I do is I don't actually physically make the products in my online store. What I do is I collaborate with artisans across Canada that make the products for me. And so I work with them on the product, what the scent might be. And the majority of the products that I carry are actually made in Canada, which I think is really cool. So whether it's a razor, a brush, or shave soap, whatever it is, yeah, most of them are actually made right here in Canada, which I think is a great thing. And a lot of the products that are made exclusively for the online store, all of them have an aviation theme. So our very first one was called North of 50, which was a shave set designed to be all about my experience flying up north and the scents that you would take in there. We had another one called Antoine's, which was named after Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, the famous author, and also he was a pilot. And that one is an interesting story. Just to sort of sidetrack, that one was actually created because we were approached a couple of years ago to offer loot bags or small gifting bags for the Academy Awards. And so we wanted to create something that would be unique. So that was something that we did. And so that was a scent that we did. And then our most recent one, which is coming out tomorrow, is called 36 and Charlie. And 36 and Charlie is a scent that's inspired by a World War II Spitfire pilot and an imaginary story of what they might have experienced in terms of their senses and the smells. And so it's a really neat one. And 36 and Charlie, that one actually, Toll Nod to Aviation, is named after the intersection in Winnipeg when we take off from 36 and Charlie. So I thought it just sounded cool. So that's my little nod to that. But also really, really excited because at the end of March, beginning of April, we are releasing a shave soap that is infused with Lost Aviator coffee.
Oh,
And
that's so cool.
yeah, so we've been working on that in the background, and we're just in the final stages. It's just curing right now, but we'll have that at the end of March, beginning of April. And so it's obviously has a bit of a coffee infused scent with some other things, and really, really excited about that one. So really neat to be able to collaborate, in this case, with Lost Aviator, with our soap maker and our company. Yeah.
Marcia just said something. She said, "Hi, Stephen," which she means Adam, but it says Stephen on your Zoom. She says her shopping cart of coffee and merch is ready for checkout. Are you offering a special discount code if we buy from this interview? I'll let you can add. Well, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that to answer that.
Yeah, I think Steven set one up. I'm not sure what it is, but use the code autopilot and chill, one word. And please share that amongst your aviation colleagues. That's our discount code for all aviation people.
Do you want to maybe type that in the chat as well then?
Yeah, I'll do that right away.
Okay. Marcia's on the ball today. Thanks, Marcia. Jonathan, that's incredible. Do you happen to have anything with you? Like
you know what? I don't.
Oh, it's okay.
Just we have so much.
It's got a clean-shaven face.
I have
right?
yeah, more or less a clean-shaven face. I am wearing my Felix and Company Winnipeg T-shirt.
Nice.
You know, it's fun. It's really cool to support the team here. I've got my candles. I need to buy some jewelry, I think, though.
Yeah.
So I'll have to talk to you, Amie, after.
Yeah. I just love the fact that there's this association here that I can totally see too, where you've had your business since 2016. You know, how you can probably help someone else who's just starting their business right now. And
but I'm also learning. I think the one thing too is I'm also learning a ton that I didn't know. And I know, for example, Travis is right now working with me on redesigning our homepage and teaching me all about the world of e-commerce and things to look for and things to do and maybe things not to do. And so even though, you know, just like flying or just like aviation, you never stop learning. So yeah, even though I've had it up and running for 5 years, it's every day I'm learning something different that I didn't know.
Wow. Hey, people, don't forget the ATC side of things. Just when you're naming things or anything, just throwing that out there. Okay, Lisa and Mark, let's move on to you guys. So Lisa, I do know that you are also Lipstick Aviation. You can talk about that and also what you guys have going on.
Yeah, so basically what happened for us was Mark and his father started their concrete business. As soon as COVID hit, we kind of had a shift in gears, much like everybody else in this panel. So Mark and his father started their concrete business, and I was kind of sitting around thinking, okay, how can I contribute? Like, I can't just have Mark paying all the bills and bringing in all the bread. I mean, as much as that sounds like a luxurious lifestyle, that's not really who I am or what I want. So I kind of started tinkering with things, and I actually started with leather. I started teaching myself how to stitch leather, and I had this intention to kind of go into something aviation related with leather. And I actually got Mark on board kind of stitching leather with me. And then that kind of progressed because Mark is the type of person who needs to understand everything about what he's doing. So we did more research, and it kind of led us into building our own things with, you know, different avenues, which led us to t-shirts. Mark kind of came up one day and was like, let's make our own t-shirts. And our original design started with just the front emblem on the front. And we were like, okay, this is really cool. How could we roll with this? And we started doing small little markets here in Windsor, and the feedback that we got was really good. So we started reaching out to friends of ours in aviation, and the feedback we got from them was even better. So we kind of played on the different types of aviation, and we started doing research into, okay, what hasn't been done before? Because there's so many, you know, aviation type t-shirts out there that are very generic, and a lot of them are very similar. So we wanted to go with something more simplistic to kind of showcase aviation, but make it a conversation piece at the same time, right? So that's kind of how the design of the runways came along, just basically something simple, but a conversation piece. And the funny thing about that is when we first started, we were taking the runways and just kind of like manipulating them to make them look artistic in a way that we thought was cool. And our initial feedback from pilots and ATC actually immediately was like, why aren't they true north? This isn't how the runway looks. And like, it drove them crazy. So we immediately scrapped the entire project, ripped everything off of our website, and redid them all true north. And since then, our feedback has been a lot better. So it's something that we learned. You know, being super artistic doesn't really fly with pilots sometimes because they like to see things as they are. Same with ATC, actually. We got a lot of feedback from them. So it was definitely kind of a learning curve in that aspect. But one thing that I will say, and part of, you know, the association that we formed here with everyone is, as Mark and I were kind of starting up, I actually had a friend who helped me with Lipstick Aviation, kind of supporting me in the beginning of, you know, promoting women in aviation. He works for a company called Aviator Mercantile Post, and he gave me a lot of mentorship and support. And having that support and mentorship meant a lot to me, and it helped us grow. So I feel like by doing our association, it's kind of our chance to be able to pass that on to the next group of people. I know there's a lot of us in this situation right now, so I think that anything that we can do to help anyone is super important, because sometimes all people need is just that tiny bit of support or like a little bit of advice to steer them in whatever direction they're going. But I mean, the proof is in like the pudding right here. Like all of these entrepreneurs you see in front of you have, you know, started from the ground. Now they're here. That sounds like a song on accident, but like, you know what I mean, right? Like, it's just, it's really great. And honestly, we have products from every single person in this chat, and I can't say anything bad about them. They've all been fantastic products. I love them all. So I think it's just been great. And Mark here is, so Mark's middle name is Christopher. So I call him Mark Christophe because he's kind of the designer. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
No, I think you kind of summed everything up. There's not much to add to that. Again, aviation is a big lifestyle, and it was a huge lifestyle change for all of us. And adapting to it has been incredibly hard, but I think as a group, it's helped a lot. Just learning and growing really from it. And I'm glad we started what we did. I wouldn't change a thing for sure.
Wow. Mark, do you also want to talk about TikTok?
Oh,
I've actually seen them.
I'm not even like the social media side of things at all. I'm just like the social butterfly, and like between the two of us, we're both pretty social. I just kind of come up with stupid, silly ideas, and then I was like, let's execute this and see what happens. And they always end up looking really ridiculous, but people like them. And honestly, what's the point of having, you know, a business if you can't have fun, right? So we do promote ourselves, and we get to enjoy ourselves doing it. So
yeah, and you know what? That's a good reminder for me and for everybody. I think what's the point of doing business if you can't have fun?
yeah.
That's maybe even words I needed to hear today because it's been busy, and so thank you for that. Okay, and you guys, obviously, someone said please put your websites in the chat. They're already there. Just look up in the chat and you'll see them in there. Okay, Travis, I know your work very well. So what are you doing, and how did how did it start?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I did have a previous business and was an entrepreneur doing web design for a number of years, and kind of tried to put that aside. But it was awfully hard to put it aside because it was still actually a pretty good income while I was earning, baggage handler or first officer salary. So I continued to do a little bit of contract work while I started building up the flight time. But then when I finally got on at WestJet, it was a dream job. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try to just make this complete switch and do the new career. And it was looking like it was going to be just fine. And then actually my youngest child started university this past fall in a graphic design program at Grant MacEwan. And we kind of decided that we wanted to form a little side business for the two of us just called Flight Plan Marketing. And so we wanted to take the skills that they were learning on graphic design and web development and the skills that I had and thought we would, just have a little side business to do fun projects with. And so we picked up a few projects building logos and doing small websites. And well, then COVID hit, and it was actually kind of funny because on one of our last flights, I was flying with a captain. We were kind of talking, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we just started opening this conversation. He had done some web development. I had done some web development. We said, you know what? I'm just going to pivot back into web development, see where that goes. And so did that right away. But I also committed at the same time to learning new stuff. And so I'd always been just a web developer, designing and building the sites, and kind of had left the sort of the marketing, digital, social media, search engine optimization side to others. But I kind of thought that, for this is a new enterprise for us, I needed to kind of get familiar with everything. So first month of layoff for me was May 1st. And so I dedicated the whole month to just learning. And so I did my Google certifications, and I did digital marketing training and learned SEO and picked up all the skills that I could, because we weren't getting new projects right away because it was just still so new and nobody knew what was going on with COVID and businesses weren't making decisions. And so we rode the wage subsidy program there for a while and just tried to use that time to build up the skill set. And so like Amie said, this was kind of, had no idea what we were going to do with this little business when we started it, but all of a sudden it now needed to be the only business that I had or that I could do. But again, in everything is timing. And it was towards the end of the summer when I reconnected with Sophia, and she reached out to me and knew that I was laid off and knew that I had a background in web. And so she invited me out and we talked about rebuilding the website for the Edmonton Flying Club. And it's been incredible. Like one thing led to another. We worked on the Elevate website. We've been working with all different kinds of organizations across Canada affiliated with aviation. So I've touched flight schools from BC to Ontario. I'm building websites for the museums, aviation museums in Edmonton and Saskatchewan, and just other business owners popped up. I think I've touched websites for all the people on the room here. And it's just been really cool to see the support in that aviation community. And so that's what we wanted to do with the business is help people take their businesses to flight.
Well, an example is if anyone's watching this, if they go to our website, elevateaviation.ca, you can see his work, because I don't do anything with our website because I am, as you know, Travis, I am not techie at all in any way, but
you use us.
Yeah, you've been working with our team, and all I hear is how amazing Travis is, and so amazing, and yeah, so I can't thank you enough for what you've done for us, and Yeah. So anyone.
Well, the neat thing is it's not only me. So through the last year, I've been able to make reconnections with people that I had bumped into in the digital marketing world for years. And we've kind of formed this little collective of freelancers that, you know, work together. I pass work to somebody that specializes in really in search engine optimization or digital marketing or paid ads. And moving forward, if I ever get back to the flight line, this is something that will keep going, because I've been able to put together a little team of professionals that can keep the business running while I'm in the air.
I just think it's crazy. And I also get to talk to Travis once in a while when he's flying through my airspace. So that's kind of fun as well, because you know, you get to keep flying a little bit, right? That's fun.
Yeah, and so that was another something that Sophia brought to me in the fall. There was she flies a small little Navajo for a construction company based in Edmonton, and knew that I was grounded and offered me an opportunity to come fly in it. So we get to fly every once in a while, a couple times a week sometimes, and it's just been really great to just get in the small little plane again and have control and do fun things, talk to people in the air.
Wow. So if this is just something that you have no time for flying again, what are you going to do when you get the phone call?
No, I said I've got a team ready to go. So I've got a project manager that can pick up and start managing the projects. Although one of the things that actually has dawned on me is maybe I don't necessarily need to be an airline pilot anymore. So flying the small stuff, corporate stuff, has actually been something that's kind of intriguing to me. Flying with one captain quite regularly, or staying with businesses that are, you know, needing to fly places and stuff like that. So that's definitely an opportunity that I never thought before, when I just dreamed of flying for airline stuff. But there's new opportunities, especially as business owners. I can relate to what they're going through.
Well, it sounds like this association will eventually need an airplane.
Yeah.
So everyone can fly around and visit each other and say hi and help each other, right? So who knows? Who knows, right? Okay. Well, listen, you guys. If you've been reading the chat, there was a comment that some of your looks like people have fixed it though. Some of the websites aren't working, so just make sure it's in there. Or and make sure when this is over, please go over to the Facebook and find this video and put your emails under there. And I know what I'm going to do this afternoon. I'm going to do a little bit of shopping myself. So we are out of time, and I just want to thank you all. I know everyone didn't get a whole lot of time to talk here, but we had a whole bunch of people, and what you've all said is, you know, so inspiring. Like, it's so inspiring. You guys have all faced some sort of adversity, and you picked up your socks and you figured out what else you want to do to have a life that you want and create a life that you're passionate about. And that is so inspiring, because there are people out there who aren't doing that, or they're wondering what to do. So now they know, if they watch this, there's an option to contact your association. And did you put the Jonathan, maybe you can put the email of the association on Facebook as well? Or?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Travis is working on that. But what we'll do is we are just finalizing the social media side of it. So what we'll do is, as soon as we do that, we'll share it with you guys, so you can put it on your website or on your social media, and then we'll be able to go from there. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. We have a comment here as well, as, you know, will these be available later on the website? So yeah, we will. Well, Travis, you'll talk to Laura, I'm sure, and talk about putting the association on there someplace, so people know where it is. So oh my goodness, you guys, so inspiring. And, you know, if anyone's watching this, please go to their websites. Very soon, you'll be able to go to elevateaviation.ca and find their websites. So we'll figure out what that's going to look like. But please go and support the people that are on this panel today. You know, really, you're supporting not only these people here, but you're supporting the aviation industry and the people inside it, and just showcasing aviation even more. You guys are all just so incredible. Thank you for spending your time here today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really, thank you, Kendra.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having us, Kendra.
No
problem. And Kendra, just from Lost Aviator, I think I speak for everybody. Thank you so much for what you do. And I strongly believe that men and women are excellent in the same proportions. And so as we get until we have balance of gender in the industry, we're not going to get the best people. So thanks a lot for what you do at Elevate Aviation.
Oh, Adam, thank you so much. And yeah, I'll say the same as Travis. I have an absolutely incredible team of people who've been part of it, including, you know, some of the people on here today. So thank you guys so much. And thank you for that. Okay, well, we will continue to talk and see each other and do whatever we can to promote your sites. And good luck with all your businesses. And I can't wait. Maybe 1 year from today, we'll do this again and see where you all are with your businesses. That'd be fun.
That'd be great. Thanks, Kendra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Bye,
Okay.
thanks.
Bye-bye.
See ya.